Hi everyone, we're the Asian Bad Girls Club and we have a really fun episode for you today. I'm Marianne.
I'm Daisy.
I'm Angela.
Yes. I always love it when the voice from heaven comes through. So today, have you seen that show Degrassi, Daisy?
Actually, no, I haven't. It's one generation behind mine.
Okay, I see. Well, luckily, I am here to school you on Degrassi, the next generation, particularly my favorite character. We'll get into it. I'm wearing my Juicy Couture Terry dress for her specifically. And yeah, let's get right into it. I'm going to share my screen with you now. Degrassi Junior and High School. Degrassi Junior High, whatever. They start in junior high here, they go into high school. It's a whole thing. Basically, Degrassi is a series that takes place in a high school and junior high in Toronto, Canada. I have to kind of like give them props because the cast has always been somewhat diverse. Like you've got young Drake here. Can you see my little mouse hovering over young Drake? He was the one that was totally famous, and they touch on real things like teen pregnancy, school shootings, really crazy shit like that. Their tagline is Degrassi, it goes there. And yeah, so you have like this cool cast of characters. I don't know if you recognize any of them, but they've definitely done a lot of other teen shows, a lot of Canadian TV, a lot of movies. And I mean, of course, there's Daddy Drake.
Yes, well, that's who I know the most of, and I think there's one guy with the swooped emo hair up
Oh my
front.
God, yeah. Spinner. He's like, I don't know, he's like a dumbass, but he's the hottie of the grade sometimes. I think Jimmy, a.k.a. Drake, is the only guy worth fucking with. Like, he's the best. I love Marco. And then, I mean, I love my girl who I'm about to tell you about. So they actually have a lot of pretty cool Asian characters that have been on there. These are people from throughout the series. They're not background characters, mind you. A lot of these are main characters. Like the guy in the center with the swoopy hair and glasses, he's from the 80s series of Degrassi. So I have to
Degrassi is Canada, right?
in Toronto. So I feel like they have always done a good job of like bigging up Asian characters, people from all different kinds of backgrounds. But my girl in particular, Manny Santos, is the fucking moment. She's the moment. She is my girl. She made me feel seen to the point that it was like actually kind of uncomfortable, where it was like, oh girl, you're doing that, I do that too, and I don't know if I'm okay with that, but she's wonderful. And I think like everyone owes so much to Manny because her storyline drives the course of Degrassi. Like there are certain things that happen with her plot where it's like, oh, this is Degrassi at its core. It goes there, we're covering these serious topics, and we have to stand her because she's a half Filipino queen like myself. So I also have a very strong opinion that, you know, I used this phrase just a second ago, but she walked down that hall in her panties showing and everything so that what's her face, Maddie from Euphoria could fly. So I think that she was a crazy inspiration for a lot of other teen shows that followed in its wake. So I'll take you through her whole character and all of these like things, and definitely, I don't know, I feel like
Can I
she's
just say though that I think it's amazing that like what I'm seeing as kind of a trend is like the Asian is a cool girl. Do you know what I mean? And I get that. Like I mean, certainly that was not me.
I wish it was me.
Like I get it because that was an aspiration. It was like it showed that you could be the cool girl, the main girl on the magazine in the cool clique and not just
And you're worthy of like an entire plot line devoted to yourself. You're not just like, oh, the like side character who loves
right.
study hall so she can get all her work done. Like, no,
Yeah.
you contain multitudes,
Yeah.
and
Or gets only 3 lines in a movie, say.
and it's like, no, you're driving the plot, and everyone is paying attention to your multitudes because your multitudes are the most exciting thing about the show. I mean, next to Daddy Drake, you know, I have like a love affair in my head for him. So I will take you through her like character evolution. There are a few things that like kind of define her personality early on, like really big life moments, and then we can talk a little bit about like who Manny is as a person, if that works for you.
That's perfect. I
So
love it.
early Manny, seasons 1 and 2, I look at her and all I see is like baby Marianne. Like, she is adorable. The ultimate limited 2 poster child. In the early season, she was a very cute, like, innocent girl. Emma right here, who's talking about her period and shit. So Emma's kind of annoying, but we, like, stan a feminist queen who loves the environment. And Emma is very established as being, like, all about a cause from the jump. Manny and her are best friends. So her and Manny are best friends, and Manny's role very early on is like, I'm Emma's best friend. That's it, because Emma was kind of driving a lot of the plot. She is the child, like the love child of 2 former 80s Degrassi people. So that's like fan service for the olds. I'm an old. I say that with love. But yeah, early Manny is like super cute. She's probably like 12 or 13 years old, a very, very loyal friend. Season 3 is her turning point. That's when Manny starts to come into her own. She's still Miss Limited too, but she's Miss Limited too, Juicy Couture with a thong hanging out. So what happens is she is part of the cheerleading squad, and she's actually like a very talented cheerleader. She's good at aerials and things like that. But she's trying to get the attention of this like shitty guy named Sully, as one does, right? So she's trying to get his attention, and the head cheerleader, Paige, was like, oh, like, I think you're too cute for him. Like, he wouldn't go for you. No, Spinner, your swoopy hair guy says that. Then Paige is like, hun, if you don't like what people are saying about you, then you have full control of, like, changing your image. So Manny takes that idea and runs. This is a screen cap here where she's like, you want to hear my mission? I want to be hot. Not cute, not adorable, hot. Unzips the gigantic hoodie that she left her house in because her Filipino parents would kill her, and just, like, struts her shit. So, okay, I have notes on this, and, like, she wants to pull Sully. He sucks. He kind of, like, fetishizes her a little bit, because when he starts to notice, like, oh, like, she's a hot girl, she's also Filipino, he's, like, encouraging her to go by Manuela instead of Manny. He thinks it's more exotic. And at first she's, like, kind of about it, because I understand this. Like, I understand this girl. I have been this girl, like...
I have been in this situation, too. I have had people try to change my name to what people call me to start to use a version of my legal name because it sounded more Asian and exotic. Even though I've never been called by that name ever. It's my legal name for my family, but yeah, I get that. I get that.
Manny has only ever gone by Manny, so it's like, who are you to come and, like, tell me to use some name that I barely use? Like, so.
But she allowed it, right? She allowed it for that episode. Yeah, because you can't help it.
She allowed it for 5 minutes, but sometimes Emma will lovingly be like, okay, Manuela, whatever, because they're best friends, right? So I have to show you, I'm going to set up the scene. This is the iconic scene around the world. It's referenced all the time if you know Degrassi lore. Basically, there's, like, this thumbnail that our picture might be covering. She was at the mall the previous day with Emma. They're looking for, like, shit to big up Manny's new cool image, and she finds a thong that's, like, bejeweled and blue and fabulous, and she's like, Emma, I should totally get this. And Emma's like, they should not fucking sell that thing at the mall. This is the aftermath and what she does with said thong. I'm gonna come hit you hard, you know what I'm talking about. She's at school!
I mean, this whole thing is just weird. I've known Manny since I was like 4.
Last year we taught older women. This year we taught younger ones. So what?
You're right. So what? So I like, big deal. I mean, it's not like she's become a totally different person.
And, you know, there's a pole in the middle of the Degrassi hallway.
With that whale tail.
Yes, bitch. Okay, so, I mean, I think everybody has had a thong moment, right? Like that.
No, not everybody, girl.
So I have, because I remember I was, like, Manny's age when I was like, oh, thongs are so scandalous. And I was, like, a total fucking, like, virginal girl who didn't even, like, have sexy lingerie at all, but, like, I had a black Victoria's Secret thong, and I knew exactly what the fuck I was doing. I, like, it's cute with, like, with my low-rise jeans and my strawberry shortcake shirt. I bent over in Latin class, and it, like, showed it, and people behind me were like, and these fucking girls made fun of me, and they were like, ew, Marianne's wearing a thong. And I'm like, I'm sorry that your panties, your granny panties, look like a back brace when you bend over to pick up your books. And also congratulations on all being in multi-level marketing schemes now. So I think we know.
That was just jealousy speaking anyway. You know that, right?
And actually, that's one thing that I love about Manny. When people start being like rude to her and shit like that, she's the first one to be like, you're just jealous. Somebody made a 1-minute compilation on YouTube of Manny like telling people that they were jealous of her. So baby girl knew from the jump. And this is like, yeah, people reference this scene when they talk about Degrassi all the time. You can't talk about Degrassi without imagining Manny's iconic strut down the hall.
Actually, this reminds me, I feel like this was kind of touched on in the show Pen 15, if you've watched that on Hulu, which is great, which also has an Asian female comedian as a starring role, right, playing as her younger self. And they did that. They did the little walking down the thong, and I'm realizing now it's definitely an homage to this scene. 100%. There's no way it's not, which is amazing. So I recommend Pen 15 too for this scene.
Oh my god, we have to like gush about Pen 15 for sure. So basically, Manny reads me like a fucking library book that she checked out from Degrassi High. After she comes into her new cool image, she's getting all of this attention from guys. And like, I have very much been that girl where it's like, you just kind of like discovered, oh, I want to experiment with my look in this way. I want to, you know, play with my image in this way. And then you get these responses from guys. And it's just, I have been her. I have been that girl who seeks validation in other people. I don't think Manny necessarily had low self-esteem, but I certainly did when I was like seeking validation in the form of like compliments from others or like what they thought of me or like playing with my look in these different ways so that I would get attention. And I get that. That is something that I would like reckon with inside of me. And I mean, a lot of the shit that she gets into.
I think honestly though that many teenage girls and just teenagers in general go through that, because I did that and I didn't do in this look. Like, this was not like this look. I get this girl. I know these girls, but I wasn't that girl, and I was never going to be that girl because I'm not thin. I've never been thin. So like for me, I was never going to be this girl, but I still experimented in my own way. And I think when I present my ABGs, it'll be so interesting to see how like they've inspired us and the changes. So this is amazing. And I get it, because the thought is still all the same. You know, even though the execution is different, the feelings are still the same. Like the instinct is still the same. The insecurities are still the same, and the needs. So I love it. I love it.
And it's like, I don't know. I mean, you see this and you're like, oh, I fucking see Marianne in that place. But like a lot of the things that she has gotten into with guys specifically, like reminded me a lot of myself at that age, where it's like I had these shitty boyfriends that you would date for 2 weeks and my parents would be like, what are you doing? Like, these guys are so fucking dumb. But like you seek validation in that. And also like, as she's going through this, the way that people judge her, the way people talked about her, the way people would make assumptions about her, it took me back to like, oh my God, I remember exactly what I was doing, like when I was, God, in 8th grade or whatever, and people were fucking talking about me and saying that this fucking guy named Jeremy, like, did this shit that he didn't even do. Like, it was like looking in a mirror almost. So she's just like kind of exploring who she wants to be, and people are all judging her for it because I mean, that's a top tier face, bitch. Like, she's gorgeous. Please.
She's an actress on a show. So.
But there's also this line with this guy, Craig. I fucking hate Craig. Like, I don't like Craig. When I first watched the show, however, when she was getting into this stuff with Craig, there were 5 minutes where I'm like, I don't like where Manny's going. But after those 5 minutes, I was like, I didn't like it because I would do this shit. I would do this, and it's too real, and she's reading me. So basically, she loves Craig. He went on a date with her, and then he decided when she was still in her cute phase that he was reminded of his little sister. And then she came into her own, changed into this image, and they start hooking up. He is dating this girl, Ashley, in the picture where Manny's kind of looking at them like, huh?
I'm seeing the love triangle in that one picture for sure.
Yes, girl. So he is trying to like double time both of them, date both of them. He's like, I could see myself doing this because he's just this fucking slimy little, oh, I have feelings emo guy, like, I would do this shit, and I would.
Manipulative,
Very
gaslighting.
manipulative.
Yeah.
And he
Mediocre white boy who gets beautiful girls even though he don't deserve it.
Exactly. Like, I don't think he's cute. I don't think he's endearing. His music sucks. He had like a sad storyline in the first season where his father was really abusive and like beat him, and it was really, really sad. But then you can't use that as an excuse to treat women like shit. You know, like, I don't think he should have done this to either girl. And the writers did kind of slut shame Manny here because they're kind of like pitting Manny against Ashley. Ashley sucks. Everyone sucks. But like, people forget that it was Craig that was cheating on both of them.
But that's been the narrative for years and years and years and years. And it's not until even now that it's even being, really fully addressed. I mean, it's been addressed kind of lightly before, but I think it's getting better, hopefully now. But yeah, in our old shows, what we grew up with, we all know. I mean, like, that's why there's calls for change now. Yeah, this is toxic, but
very toxic.
Spicy.
And so, like, they're hooking up and all this stuff. He keeps telling Manny he's going to break up with Ashley for her. He doesn't do it. Manny fucking gets pregnant. So Manny loses her virginity to him, and even after all this talk, people calling her a slut, she was like, she hadn't slept with anybody yet, but people were talking about that. She sleeps with Craig a few times, and she gets pregnant. And that sucked, but I don't know, like, she was 14 years old. She couldn't have a baby at that time. She was real about it. That's what the screen grab is from. She was like, I don't want to give a life to, like, a baby. I'm not ready for this. So she decides to have an abortion. And that storyline was so controversial that it wasn't even shown on in the US episode of like Degrassi. I had to watch it online.
Do you remember what year this was that it aired?
I want to say it was like 2000. It had to have been like 2005, 2004, I want to say. Because I was definitely in high school when this is happening. And actually this screen grab where she has the collared pink shirt, that whole series of episodes, it takes place over Christmas, and just watching those, like, seeing the way that she is talking to Craig and being like, Craig, like, if you wrote a song like that for me, I would love you forever, whatever. Like, it just takes me back to being like in 9th grade, and like, it takes me back to every weird fucking garage, every weird messy room, every fucking gross backseat you've ever been in. It's just like, it was just very, very real and emotional for me to see that. And to see how people were like treating her too, because again, even though Craig is being this shitty guy, everyone is making like cheap shots at Manny because she's an easy target. So these are some defining moments that happen with her. But out of all of this, like, you get introduced to her Filipino background in the midst of this abortion storyline. So she goes home to her mom and she's like, Mom, I am pregnant, but I can't have this baby. This is where the Filipino stuff comes in. She's like, I don't want to be like our cousin Mary and go back to the Philippines and have this baby. Like, there's an option for me to have an abortion, and I think I should take it. So you see a lot of callbacks to her Filipino family, like later in the series too. She has a debut, which we have to go into. I never had a debut because I had like 2 friends, and my mom wanted very much for me to have a debut, but they're also...
Define debut.
What?
Define debut.
It's basically like a Sweet 16 situation where like you are being introduced as a woman.
A debut.
So it's for, well, it's pronounced debut in like Filipino culture, but
that makes sense. I get it. Debut, yeah.
And in that photo in the center bottom, she's actually supposed to be wearing her mom's old debut dress. So her mom is very sweet and warm. Reminds me a lot of my mom, actually, because she's super warm and caring. But her dad is a very, very strict Filipino father. Wants very much for her to like study science and just stay on the right track there. So you see a little bit about that, but we'll talk a little bit about them later. So after she goes through all of that shit with Craig, has to get an abortion, is like fighting off everyone's fucking mean comments, she goes back to school and she's very outspoken. She takes moments to herself for sure, but everything that she went through, I think, has helped her find her voice. And she calls out shitty men like she sees them. She calls out shittiness when she sees it because she's had people be shitty to her. And I wrote here in my notes, she's hard as fuck because she's had to deflect people's comments and judgment. I mean, I think that tracks because as you have to like deal with everyone's fucking opinions and all of the rumors, and high school can be so mean, you just kind of have to put on a tough exterior and just go back and finish out your education and hopefully have some fun while you're doing it. You can't let people.
Sorry. I just want to say too how amazing it is to have that kind of like strong voice role model, an Asian American, role model in a teen speaking
Mhm.
out, talking back, because usually, I think that usually the narrative is don't talk back.
Exactly.
Like, don't make a scene, and so I love that that's such a big part of her character, and
Yeah,
I wish I'd seen her now.
Oh my God, we'll have to binge watch it together. It's so much fun. It's really the best show to rewatch. But this shady Aaron Carter looking motherfucker right here. So that's Peter, and he fully just like takes advantage of a situation when Manny is drunk at a party. She's wearing a dress very much like mine. He has a video camera and she's drunk as hell, and she's like, you can sell this for $1 million because I'm gonna be famous, and like shows her boobs. He has it on video, and then of course he like distributes it to the rest of the school. And he should be in fucking jail right now. Like, let's just establish that. He's a predator. He needs to go to jail, and he sucks, but he doesn't get to go to jail because he's the principal's son. So he gets a slap on the wrist. And he's just a shitty person, but she spends the rest of his time there, like, calling him out on his sucky behavior. He tries to get involved with her BFF, Emma, and she's like, Emma, he sucks, I'm telling you. And then Emma sees later on that Manny was right, when I don't even remember. I fucking hate Peter, and I block out.
Honestly, just the posing of this too, the the very well off like man in power who
Pop
comes
collar,
from
fucking
their man
J.
in
Crew.
power, who happens to be, a white male, gets away with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're expected to just deal with it, but she didn't. And
in
hell
the
yeah.
picture below it, she's knocking his lunch into his lap because
Yeah.
he sucks. Fuck Peter. I think
Even like the looks on her faces that you put in there, you could see like she's like, nope, I'm not putting up with any of this. You can't mess with me. I love that.
in the bottom, what is that? I write with my right hand. The bottom right corner where she's fighting the head cheerleader Paige. So I will play this clip for you. I'm setting it up now. Basically, Paige fucking gets involved with a young teacher, like a teacher-student fucking relationship at Degrassi. This guy, I guess, just got out of college. Paige is about to graduate high school. They start fucking hooking up, and that's like illegal and totally predatory. Manny sees it happen. Like, I don't remember what happened. She like walked outside and saw that the two of them were kissing, and Manny's like, sorry. But then Manny, as a result, has to cover all of the cheer practice for Paige, come up with the cheers, do all of this shit, basically do her role and Paige's role because Paige wants to go off and fuck the teacher all the time. So she confronts Paige in the hallway, and this is what's happening in this clip.
Could you be more self-obsessed? All you think about is your own butt, which probably does require a lot of thought, given that it's you.
Do you wanna touch me tonight? Do you wanna get me tonight? Good luck catching me tonight. I'm a bad manager. Begging, baby, please. Why don't you come to me? I'm gonna move that body, yeah. Easy digging me. Oh, it's your bad self.
Manny, calm down.
Hey, Mr. Pedophile. I mean, Oleander, don't make
It cut off, but she goes, don't make your girlfriend Paige jealous of me again.
Oh.
But Manny like exposes this man as a predator, and he has no fucking business working in a school, right? But there he is, and the teacher or the principal who stopped him, she's like, Manny, you have to come to my office Monday. Y'all two fucking get to my office now. And she fires his ass, which is good. So she's outspoken, and she set shit right. So one thing that has always remained true to Manny ever since from the beginning of Degrassi to the end of it, that she is the absolute fiercest, most loyal friend. She's a good ass friend. Emma is an easy target because she like loves the environment so much. She gets involved with everything, and we love that for her. But Manny is always right there sticking up for her regardless of what anybody else is saying. She ends up being cool with Paige, the girl that she just fought, because Manny is big enough to admit, like, sometimes I'm wrong about things. Her and Paige butt heads a lot, but they are like-minded people, and she turns to Paige at first when she finds out that she might be pregnant from Craig, because she was like, Paige, how do you know if a guy used a condom? And Paige was like, oh, honey, like, you would know that. Are you okay? And they have a moment. So later on, they butt heads again, and Manny is the first to come around and be like, look, I'm sorry. We shouldn't be fighting like this. Like, I'm willing to put this shit aside if you are. There's another.
Yay! So they did become friends afterwards. Good. Okay.
Growth, right? Growth. So there's also a girl named Darcy who comes to school, and she is really, really religious and really judgy towards Manny initially. They're both on the cheerleading squad, so like they are in close interaction a lot. But she's initially very judgy of like Manny's past and stuff like that. And all this other stuff happens with Darcy. Like Darcy ends up getting date raped and shit, and it's like really tough for her. But Manny, despite their differences and despite how Darcy treated her before, she's there for her, and she's like super supportive. And it's also like when she sees her friends getting in these situations with guys and guys mistreating them, she's always the first to come to their support because she's been there and she's had that happen to her, so she knows what it feels like. And I mean, she's just wonderful. Like Emma in this picture on the left-hand side, she's taking a stand against the sexist acts that this fucking energy drink company that's like a Monster equivalent was doing to advertise. And the girl's like, well, you can either take off your purple dragon dress or leave. So she takes off her purple dragon dress, and Manny is the first one to come and cover her and just be like, don't look at my friend. So we love her. We stan just a loyal, loyal queen. She is confident as fuck, and she finds out after Jay and Silent Bob weirdly film a movie at Degrassi that she's quite good at acting, and she wants to be an actress. She's also like just super witty and funny. She is the queen of the one-liner. Like her one-liners live on in Degrassi lore. She coined the term cuckoo bananas, and she's always like calling people cuckoo bananas, all this shit. One of my favorite lines from her was when that shitty guy Peter walks up and he's holding a book and he's concerned because Emma used to have an eating disorder and she's falling back into the ways. He's like, Manny, I read something in this book. And Manny's like, good for you, Peter. Learning to read is very important. But I also love that she wants to be an actress and she's like willing to go and follow her bliss in that way because it's quite brave of her. Her parents, who are, you know, from the Philippines, they want so badly for her to become a doctor or to study science or be an engineer or something, just like a job that is a surefire way to make money and be in the scientific field and everything. But she wants to follow her bliss. And I think that is just so brave of her. I remember when I was watching this, I have a dirty little secret. For 5 minutes of my life, I too wanted to be an actress because I would see Cassie Steele, who plays Manny. I was like, she looks like me. She's doing this. This is really cool. I was not nearly as talented, and that lasted for like 3 hours of my life. But to see that and to see, especially an Asian woman taking a path in the arts, I feel like it can be kind of rare. So I loved that about her. I used to fantasize like, oh, maybe if one day I'm a famous actress, Cassie Steele and I can play sisters in something.
Well, I can definitely see that because obviously, like, as we're doing this, like we're just starting this as people are watching, and I just feel like you're a natural, truly, and like we did with you like little starts before this, and immediately I was like, wow, she's got such a great presence on camera, and I just, you know, and it was amazing, and watching you made me feel like realize I needed to kind of like loosen up and just be myself because you're so genuine and you read very well as being genuine. I don't know. Okay, I'm done kissing your butt. I love it.
You're so genuine. I love you so much.
I love you so much.
Oh my God, thanks, Ange. Guys, this is about Manny. It's not about me.
Yes, but she helped you. Like she was your, you know, she was an influence to you to where you are today, and the fact that we're even doing this, you know. So
thank you, Manny.
Thank you, Manny. Fuck yeah, Manny. Just for that, I already give her, you know, gold stars.
It was huge for me too because like I don't know, I used to take drama classes in high school. My teacher was Mr. McFarland, and he was really fucking mean. I had a lot of really colorful names for him. Mr. fucking motherfucking asshole was like one of the names that we had. But yeah, Manny was always like just very inspirational to me in that way. She gets an A+ for her bold choices. These are a whole bunch of stylistic choices that she made over the course of the series. Not all of them are awesome, but I have definitely like I had accident bangs like that before, bitch, and they don't look good at all on me, but She rocked them all with confidence.
But the top row second one.
Oh my god, right? But I still like her like sweepy bang moment. I think it's fun. We love to see it. Clearly, I can relate. It's fine. It's whatever.
Wait a minute, go back. You can't just gloss over that. You can't just gloss over that. Yes. I was gonna say, how did that? You guys look so much alike. And then I realized I was like, wait.
Whatever. We both had, it was funny when we would be watching these shows, we both had accident bangs around the same time. We both dyed our hair weird colors around the same time. There were much more photos of me, but I think like I went through a phase when I couldn't embrace my inner Manny, and I just went to untag them all. So I had to like dig pretty deep for these, but that's fine. We love her style risks. She's really cute. And this slide is one that I added just this morning, like, because I was watching it and I was like, oh, her relationship with this guy, Jay, is actually really cute. So some background is like, Jay is kind of this, I don't know, rough around the edges dude who dropped out of high school. He works on cars and he's like a very talented mechanic, but he also like used to be kind of a toxic personality. He was a bad influence on Spinner, absolutely smokes weed, but like, whatever. So she's about to have her debut, and her parents, like, they're very much drilling the fact that she does not need to be an actress, but she decides to enlist Jay and all of this. She's like, oh, Jay, like, why don't you be the date to my debut after he fixes her dad's car that she fucking crashed. She enlists Jay to like be the date to her debut. She says that she'll pay him and everything, and she's going to show off her acting skills for her parents and act like they're a real couple. It ends up being like her parents fucking love Jay. Her mom just thinks he's wonderful, and he's so good with the parents. He's like, oh, I love the food because Filipino food fucking rules. And his dad, like Manny's really, really strict dad, falls in love with Jay because they both like chop it up about cars, and he's like, oh, I'll protect Manny, it's fine. So Manny starts dating him, and it actually ends up being somewhat of a healthy relationship, or at least the healthiest relationship we had seen her in all of Degrassi. So they get caught kissing outside of Manny's house, and she was like, we're just celebrating because we're engaged, because she didn't want to get in trouble. So then they have to play off this fake engagement. There's a scene where her strict parents bring in the family priest to like speak with them, and I was like, oh my god, I feel so seen, because my parents very much wanted me and Dave to get married by a priest, and that was not us because we're not religious, but they go along with all of these things. And as they are playing this fake engagement role, they kind of start to fall in love with each other, and ends up being cute. There's a toxic moment where he's helping her film her whole demo reel for acting and everything, and then it cuts to a scene of them like making out and everything, but he almost gives her the DVD of her and him making out, like an X-rated bullshit thing, and he ends up changing his ways because of her. He gives her the right disc. He's very encouraging in her career, and I mean, I kind of like fucking love the two of them together in a way that I didn't expect, because I was watching this show. I very much had my opinions about Jay, and I'm like hyper protective of Manny, if you can't tell. So Cassie Steele fucking rules, the girl who plays her, and I follow her. Her TikTok is amazing. I love her. She openly talks about Degrassi to the point that I have to show you her Bus It challenge real quick. Do you love it?
Is that the same thong? I bet she still owns that thong. That's gotta be the same thong.
No, I actually, okay, so I follow her very seriously on social media, and that thong, she wanted to do this challenge, and she was talking about how she ordered the thong off of like some random website because she was looking for a very specific blue thong, and it took like a month to get in, and there weren't any jewels on it, so she had to place them herself, but she couldn't do it because like, you can't, it's hard to do it on yourself, right? So she made her man put on the thong and put the jewels on it.
But it looks like the same thong from that scene that you saw in the beginning. That's why. Also, I mean, she even in the show and in real life, she maintains healthy relationships. So yay.
And you know what? She talks about Degrassi so openly, and it was just such a positive experience for her. So I like that she's not one of those people who had a really, really iconic role and just refuses to talk about it. Like Posh Spice did that for a hot minute, and I was like, V-Bex, come on. Like, I love you, but remember who you are, Simba. I want to talk about Cassie in real life because she's fucking amazing and she's so gorgeous. Like, this is her at the recent D23 Expo. She has the same birthday as Britney Spears, December 2nd, an actual queen.
I'm Sagittarius, by the way, so hey.
God. I love this for you guys. Yeah, so she's half like me. Her dad's British, her mom is Filipino, and her little sister was actually in 2 different roles on Degrassi. She played Craig's younger sister, who they alluded to, and then she has another role later on after Cassie is no longer on it. She was supposed to play Gabriella in High School Musical, but it conflicted with season 5 filming of Degrassi. So, like, imagine what that could have been like, you know, if she decided to take that role. But I mean, I love that she was still in Degrassi because where would we be without Manny Santos, honestly? She was actually also supposed to be the voice actor behind that new Disney movie, Raya, the Last Dragon. And I think that what happened was the Disney people said that the character changed so that the voice had to change. But I'm telling Disney, like, y'all need to fucking, like, hire Cassie on your next project immediately because she is a talented actor. She can, like, do a ton of voice acting. She sings like a fucking dream. And you know what? She's a current voice actor on Rick and Morty. She plays Tammy. Actually, she plays 2 different voices, but Tammy is the main one she does. And she's still really tight with Marianne McDonald, who played Emma. She's still tight with the actor who played Jay. She talks about Degrassi so openly. And she was in the Drake video, I'm Upset, where he, like, goes back to Degrassi and it all makes sense. And he sees all of his old classmates. I think she should have had a bigger role in it. And she should have reprised the thong moment there. But, you know, they probably didn't have enough time for it or something. After Degrassi, she starred in the LA Complex and Instant Star, where a whole bunch of people from other shows from the N where it was shown on Degrassi. It was like, yeah, kind of like the HBO practice where they take different HBO actors and put them in different things. But it was nice to see her in those. And yeah, here's some pictures of her and Drake because I like them. There's no rhyme or reason behind them. I just think they're fun. But I mean, I'm just so grateful to her, and I am so fucking proud of Cassie because for me, Manny is like, my goal is to do one of these and not fucking cry one day. But like, Manny means so fucking much to me. Like, she's home. She's kind of like, fuck you, Marianne, I swear to God. She's like, kind of like looking in a mirror, and like sometimes that mirror is uncomfortable, but like, that girl is totally valid and fine. Oh, hey, so I know I'm like trying to kid a lot to get through it, but I really do hate it when my voice sounds like fucked up when I'm starting to cry.
No.
I know.
No,
Okay.
this is exactly why we're doing this. Do you know what I mean? Because it's these characters. They're characters and they're actresses and whatever else, but such a huge impact on your life, right? And how you see yourself when you don't see yourself represented almost ever, and you're the only one in your town, or one of the very, very few, if any, in your town. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
I get it. You know, like
representation, yeah, that's like the bare minimum, and we need fucking more of it. But like Manny she made me feel less alone. And I mean, I told Dave about this the other day. Like, my sophomore year at high school, I was a new kid at school, and I didn't, you know, like I didn't know anybody, and I wasn't planning to go to homecoming. And some guy I didn't really know, he emailed me to ask me to go to homecoming, but I opted to stay home and watch Degrassi, and I lied. And I was like, sorry, I'm going out of town, but whatever. Like, to me, Manny is like, she is therapy, and she is the mirror reflecting back at me that like I so needed. And she's kind of the girl within me who I tried to like, I was reckoning with her, and I tried to repress her, and I thought that she sucked, and I like criticized her a lot. But it's also like, for so long that was the case. But now that I'm confronting her, it's like, she is okay, and she's valid, and she made mistakes, and those mistakes are okay, and she shouldn't have been judged as harshly by everybody.
Mhm.
She shouldn't have been like hard on herself in that way too, because like I know it's like hard to go through that and not like blame yourself a little bit. And that's something that I worked on in therapy too. Like my therapist is like, you don't have to blame yourself about this. And you know, like other people reacted in that way and their reactions are wrong. It's not necessarily yours. And like she was the girl that I just had so much of a reckoning with, and that now I love her so much, and she makes that girl within me who is like that feel seen and feel loved. And that's why, Manny Santos, you're my ABG.